Today we're going to review all of the topics of percents that we have gone over in preparation for our Unit 3 test this Friday. For each of these questions, I will do a teacher example, and you should then complete the student following problems. This first one is asking us to find 20% of 48. The skill that we use for this is we learned in this unit that when we have the word of, that means to multiply. Okay. And I will turn 20% into a fraction. Percent is always out of 100, so 20 out of 100 times 48. And the whole number will be written over 1. When we multiply fractions, we are going to multiply across our numerators and across our denominators. You can do this calculation on a calculator. So 20 times 48 is 960, and 100 times 1 is 100. To simplify this, we will take our numerator and divide it by our denominator. So 960 divided by 100. Again, I will do this on a calculator. And this will give us our answer in decimal form, so 9.6. Okay, for the second teacher example, it's a very similar question. I am now going to show you another strategy for finding the percent. We're still going to turn this into a multiplication problem because the word of means to multiply. But instead of multiplying by a fraction, I can turn the percent into a decimal. To do that, I shift the decimal once, twice, so 2 times to the left, and now it is in decimal form. By converting this to a decimal, it saves us from the simplify step in the last part of the fraction. To multiply decimals, we can do this on our calculator. So 0.38 times 40 gives us our answer 15.2. Teacher problem number 3. When I read through the question, I immediately notice that this does not give me a percent value. So in this question, we're looking to find the percent amount. We have 4 out of 5, so I'm going to write that in its fraction form, 4 out of 5. I want to set this equal to a fraction out of 100 because percents are always fractions out of 100. I know that I can multiply 5 times 20 to have a denominator of 100, and so I replicate that in the numerator as well. 4 times 20 is 80. And make sure you answer this in percent form. So if 80 out of 100 is the fraction, and as a percent, the percent amount is out of 100, so 80%. Right, this question here is 60% of what number is 15. I cannot unfortunately solve this by turning it into a fraction and multiplying because what I don't know is next to the word of. So while we know the word of means to multiply, we can only multiply when we have two numbers next to each other. So instead, I'm going to set this problem up on a double number line. When we make our double number line, make sure you have a label. And we typically put percent on the bottom, but it would be okay if you put it on top. And then we're going to use our second number line here to represent the actual number. Okay, based on the information we know, let's put our zeros in to start. 60% of what number is 15? So we know that 60% represents 15, and we want to know what the full number is. When we're looking for the full or total number, that represents the 100% value. So I'm going to put a question mark under 100% because that is what I am trying to solve for. In this example, when we make a double number line, remember we can either count by percentages of 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, or 50. These are the numbers that will count exactly up to 100%. In order for me to fill in this double number line, it needs to have an equivalent scale. At the moment, if I go from 0 to 60, that would be 60 spaces, and then 60 to 100 is 40. So we can't count by this scale. Instead, I'm going to count by one of these numbers that I know will get to 60 and 100. Okay, obviously I could count by ones, because if I counted by ones, I will skip count to 60 and to 100, but that will take us much more time. So we want to choose the number that is the biggest. 2 is another possibility. If I counted by 4s, I would get to 60 and 100. If I counted by 5s, that would work. 10s, because they both add in 0. And we can also count by 20s, because it would go 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So I'm going to choose to count by 20. Less numbers for me to draw on my number line. 20, 40, there's our 60, 80, and then would come 100. So now I can determine the scale on the number line above. I'm going to put a dashed line above each, and I want to figure out how much each of those spaces is worth. If I count here, I have 1, 2, 3 spaces to get to 15. So to decide what I'm counting by, I take the 15 and divide it into those 3 spaces, and that will tell me to count by 5s. So 0 to 5, 5 then to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and 20 to 25. So I'll circle that and indicate that as my answer. Hopefully this video has helped you review percent questions. Make sure as you read through the examples, you're paying attention to what each part represents. So is it a part, is it a whole, or is it the percent amount? Good luck and happy studying.